Welcome to Across Africa, our weekly look at stories from across the continent. I'm Georgia Calvin-Smith, and this week, Congo Brazzaville adopts a bill that would expand legal protection for women, as well as upping penalties for sexual abuse. It targets the precarity suffered by women vulnerable to social and economic abuse. Also, protesters at an auction house in France accuse buyers of trying to buy stolen goods. A rare 19th century mask from Gabon was on sale in Montpellier. It eventually went for 4.2 million euros. And we head to Ghana to meet some of the girls at the heart of a small but passionate skateboarding scene. Harmony Bataka and her friends helped build a skate park in Accra. But first, Congo Brazzaville has beefed up legislation aimed at stopping violence against women. The changes cover physical and sexual abuse, as well as social and economic violence. Our correspondent sent us this report.
Dieudonné Tombo was 31 when her husband died of a heart attack. In addition to having to deal with the pain of her loss, she faced the hostility of her in-laws. They held her responsible for her husband's death, even though she was away when it happened. They also stripped her of all her belongings the day after the funeral.
They took everything. They didn't even leave me a fork. They even took the bed where my husband and I used to sleep together. They didn't allow me to shower, and they didn't give me any food or any water.
Dieudonné's case is no exception. Many widows in the Republic of Congo face similar treatment. Now a new law seeks to outlaw such abuse along with other forms of violence against women. These include marital rape and revenge porn, crimes which until now were not punishable by law. Khedon Kuka is an activist. She's been defending the rights of Congolese women for years. She says the law is a major step forward.
I believe that this law will bring something to the life of every woman. It will help them to speak out because women are often scared to report acts of violence, and they're not always aware of their rights. But the law shouldn't just be empty words. It must be applied, and a lot remains to be done in that respect.
The government says it wants more women to know about the legislation meant to protect them.
Once the law is put into effect, there will be a campaign to make sure the population knows about it and respects it. We'll rely on elected officials across the country, MPs, councilmen and traditional chiefs to raise awareness.
Under the new law, a conviction of violence against women can lead to a fine and a prison sentence of up to 20 years.
Despite protests from activists, a 19th century carved mask from Central Africa has been auctioned off for 4.2 million euros in the French city of Montpellier. Some have slammed the transaction and want the piece returned to Gabon, its country of origin.
In the middle of the auction, a Gabonese activist interrupts proceedings to denounce what he sees as an illegitimate sale.
Dans tous les cas, cet objet va être restitué.
The item in question, a rare 19th century Gabonese mask traditionally worn by the Ngil secret society to hunt suspected sorcerers and witches. It was acquired under unknown circumstances by colonial governor René Victor Fournier and was found decades later in near pristine condition by his descendants, who put it up for auction. But the Gabonese activists who interrupted the sale called it an ill-acquired colonial gain, which should be returned to its country of origin.
Governor Fournier at the time in 1917 is said to have collected this item, but what he did was steal, rob, snatch and plunder. And we cannot accept that this property is here on display when it has been stolen.
The activists say they've taken legal action for the mask to be returned to Gabon. In the meantime, it was auctioned off for 4.2 million euros, more than 10 times its estimated value.
Madagascar has been hit by 6 natural disasters in just 4 months. Hundreds of thousands have been affected. Madagascar in the east has almost been wiped off the map, but tens of thousands of people are still trying to live there. Our correspondents report.
A city in ruins. Cyclones Batsirai and Imnati devastated Mananzari, leaving thousands of people without shelter, food or water. Among them is 29-year-old Gita, a single mother with 2 young children.
Here you are, this is my plate.
chicken, rice and vegetables. The government's handing out a meal a day to those who need it. But it's not enough for Gita to support her family. Every day, her children eat on the ground next to the remains of their home.
Here you see my son is eating, but sometimes it's not enough for him, and I am forced to starve myself, because he is very hungry.
1,300 of the city's 5,500 households still don't have anywhere to live. Tonight, Gita won't eat and will probably sleep outside. There is no space left in the emergency housing. There's also a lack of drinking water. Floods have mixed the clean water supply with the city's waste. That's been made worse by the number of people forced to relieve themselves in the open. UNICEF has been distributing water purification kits and is teaching residents about the dangers of habits that can increase the likelihood of catching waterborne diseases.
We must make an effort to use toilets, because if our fecal matter is scattered in nature, it will pollute the Pangalan Canal and come back to bite us, right?
The World Bank has injected more than 36 million euros into emergency programs here, and a dozen NGOs are working on the ground. The government is still working on developing a reconstruction plan, which international donors want to see before sending extra aid to the country. In the meantime, the international climate emergency continues to threaten the life of hundreds of thousands of Malagasy.
In March, the Nigerian army shut down dozens of illegal refineries across the Niger Delta and recovered nearly 3 million litres of stolen crude oil. The black market tapping of pipelines involves the burning of crude in makeshift tanks and is massively polluting. Our team report.
This is what remains of the illegal refinery. This woman is one of the 3 people caught red-handed at this site. Chidi Lloyd is the ringleader of the raid, commissioned by the governor of Rivers State. This locally elected official feels helpless. With each destruction, a new illegal refinery is built elsewhere.
The young boys who come here to cook are not the ones we are looking for. The owners of these ovens or pots or whatever they call them are in the different hotels in Port Harcourt. They're in Presidential. While their money, they come with those who buy the product, while these young boys are misguided.
In this hospital in Port Harcourt, Dr. D. Briggs notes the effect of oil-related gas fumes. This young woman has suffered from asthma for almost 15 years. She has regular attacks because of the degradation of the air in the metropolis. And at least 3 times a week, this patient comes to see a doctor.
I swore an oath to protect the health and well-being of my patient. Whenever I see my patients suffer for ailments that are not of their making, they don't have control over the air they breathe. It is the responsibility of the government and stakeholders in the oil and gas industries to conduct their businesses according to international standards.
In the Niger Delta, life expectancy is 40 years. That is 14 years less than the national average. With a digital box like this one, environmental associations measure the level of air pollution with a device. These devices are installed in the homes of volunteers. For these environmentalists, air pollution must become a priority in the region.
Clean air should be a human right. There is no access to clean air, and if you look at the indexes that have happened in the past 2-3 years in Africa, air pollution alone has contributed to loss of lives of more than 2 million people.
Since January, several hundreds illegal refineries have been destroyed in Port Harcourt area, but hundreds more continue to operate, making it difficult to improve the air quality in this key Nigerian oil and gas region.
Well, skateboarding's popularity in Africa is still picking up. It's a small but passionate community that gives it their all, though. And in Ghana, a group of girls has helped even build a skate park where they're hoping more women will come along for the ride.
Harmony used to wait for Sunday to skate. Then she decided to give up her job to pursue her passion full-time.
I had saved some money up, from work. So I decided that even though I wasn't having any source of income at the moment, I just wanted to like be free and then, you know, do what I love. So.
A love shared by many in the now thriving scene, especially after Ghana's first skate park was opened last year. This is where she's paid to teach the basics of skateboarding to women and young girls, even starting a collective called the Skate Gal Club.
I'm just really happy that there's a lot of girls who want to try. Even if they don't want to continue, at least they're willing to try.
Every Thursday, the park is exclusively open to women, and they can use all the equipment free of charge. A golden opportunity for 4-year-old Lila. After just a few months, she's now conquered one of the park's largest ramps and her fears.
Nobody's scared. It's okay. No, I'm here. Don't worry. Calm down. Trust me, I'll catch you. It's really good in your hand. There.
They're braver than I am. Anyway, in March, Tunisia welcomed its first cruise ship since 2019. The arrival of the 700 passengers was some rare good news for a battered tourism industry. Wasim Korne has more.
They're back, and Tunisian authorities are breathing a sigh of relief. For the first time since 2019, a cruise ship packed with tourists has docked at one of the country's ports. The Spirit of Discovery, carrying British, German, Italian, and Spanish tourists, arrived in Tunis on Wednesday, where it was welcomed by camels and a band playing traditional music. It's the kickoff to what officials hope will be a good tourism season. They expect at least 40 cruise ships to dock in Tunisia this year.
عودة متاع الرحلات متاع السياحة البحرية بعد غياب 3 سنوات مهم جدا بالنسبة للسياحة التونسية. مهم جدا لعدة قطاعات كما قطاع النقل، قطاع الصناعة التقليدية، قطاع الثقافة.
The industry hopes to bring visitor numbers and spending back to 60% of the levels seen in 2019. That year was the best since the country's revolution 8 years earlier. Here is what passengers had to say as they disembarked in Tunis.
Well, we're certainly just pleased to get out and see some of the world, you know, and get to some of the places that we haven't seen.
I'm really happy to be here. Looking forward to our tour.
Tourist spending is key to Tunisia's economy. It makes up around 14% of GDP and provides a living for about a sixth of the population.
Well, that's it for Across Africa for this week. Thanks for joining us, and do so again if you can. Till then, take care.